Good morning, wonderful people. It's Make It Happen Monday, or sometimes known as Manage Your Critic Monday. So gorgeous welcome. Today's subject is all about how do you decide what kind of coaching you need. So just to put it into context, there are three kinds in my opinion. You've got self-coaching, where you can ask yourself questions and you can reflect on it. You have one-to-one coaching and you have group coaching. And I want to talk about the three kinds and also how you decide which one to go for, predominantly because I see lots of people come to me asking me for advice, particularly close family and friends who perhaps don't want to work directly with me, but they want me to advise and recommend what kind of coach they go for. So I thought I'd share that with you. Someone who's just joined me today, please put a comment below. Where are you? Where are you coming from? Tell me, have you had coaching and how did you decide which coach you're going to have? So for me, self-coaching, let's go back actually. Let's just clarify what is coaching. Coaching is where you get asked questions, and the purpose for asking the questions to help you get clarity of what you want and the confidence to make it happen. And so the coach is guiding your attention to solutions, resources, strengths, strategy, process, helping you work out where you are now to where you want to be, and helping you to map out step by step how you get from where you are now to where you want to be. And they often end up being your cheerleader, your accountability buddy, that person who recognizes the effort you're putting in, recognizes how hard it is at times, but is holding that space for you as you get through the difficult parts of the change process and can be there to celebrate with it, but also to help you when it's really tough. Sometimes you don't want to tell the whole world about it, but having someone you can talk to in confidence about how you're feeling about something you've tried to work out and it didn't quite go as you like is really where coaching comes into its own. So you can self-coach so long as you have a good series of questions, and there's plenty of books. My book's out there, Manage Your Critic. I don't think I've got it to hand. Yes, I have. Manage Your Critic, From Overwhelm to Clarity in 7 Steps. In there I've got workbook and some coaching questions. There's plenty of books out there, plenty of information out there where you can ask yourself questions. In fact, you could even say to yourself today, what kind of question would be a good question to ask myself? And you intuitively know the questions that you need to be asking yourself. Okay, so you can coach yourself when you're going to give yourself the time to do it. 2, you have the questions you want to ask, and you have the confidence to decide what questions you need to be asked. When you might need one-to-one coaching is really when you've lost sight of what questions you want to ask and you need to hear it actually outside. And this is the bit that most people don't recognize or don't understand, is that I could write down the question. In fact, we could try it now. I'm going to see if I can write in the box. One of the questions I would ask you is, what would you, can't say it, to have happen? Okay, so that's one of the main questions. So if I put the question, what would you like to happen, written down, if you read it, you'll hear it with your inner voice. If you were to read it out loud and record it, you'd hear it with your outer voice. But if me as a coach said to you, what would you like to have happen? Depending how fast I said it, or what pace I said, or where I put the emphasis, what would you like to have happen? What would you like to have happen? So I can say that one question at different pitches, at different tones and different paces, and you may actually hear the question differently. So how you decide what kind of coaching you need is when you asking yourself the questions isn't giving you access to new information. That's when you might need to hear the question externally. And one of the things I get my academy members to do is you might ask a friend, or they go into pairs, the members get into pairs and they ask each other the questions, because it isn't necessarily about the coach per se, it's about the fact you just need to hear the question outside. The difference with coaches is we're trained how to calibrate whether the tone, the pace, what we ask questions of, and we're paying attention to whether it's working, whether it's giving you access to new information or not. And so we're playing with that. So how you might also decide whether which coach you want to work with one-to-one could be the pitch and tone of that voice. So there was back a little while ago, I was in a group Really liked the person that was mentoring me, really liked what they were saying. I could read their comments, but it got to a point where I just couldn't hear the voice. It was causing a trigger, which is great learning for me, and I went somewhere else and worked out what that was triggering for me. That was great, but it wasn't the right coach for me in that moment because of the pitch of the voice. So you might choose your one-to-one coaching based on their story and life experience. It might be their tone of voice, how fast or how slow they talk or ask questions. It could be their gender. It could be the way they dress. It could be their accent. So you would be checking in with yourself, knowing what you want to have happen, what do you want to get out of coaching. You would then be able to choose which one would be your one-to-one coach that would work with you. And one-to-one coaching provides you with that confidential space where you can really listen to and to express yourself fully, as long as you have that trust and that rapport with your coach where you can actually tell them what you're really thinking rather than perhaps saying what you think is okay to be heard by somebody else. So one-to-one coaching gives you the opportunity to really drill down, but it also gives you a really private and confidential space to unpack things that perhaps maybe in a group environment you wouldn't be so comfortable to do. And group coaching, for me, this is where the magic really happens. And sometimes we need one-to-one coaching to be confident enough to go in a group. And sometimes we have to have group coaching to be confident enough to do one-to-one coaching. And the reason I say that is that in group coaching, when you can speak up and feel safe to speak your truth, to speak honestly and authentically in a group, and what you've got to say is witnessed and honoured and valued and validated, when it works, that is exponentially, the impact it has on your system, the feedback it has on your system is phenomenal. But often the fear of, saying something and experiencing that, that impact of shame, being ridiculed or people laughing at you or people judging you or people not liking you, is that when you're in a group environment, it's exponential. It expands it, it magnifies it. So the fear of shame or regret or embarrassment or whatever else can stop us sometimes from showing up in a group and getting the benefit and the value of having the good stuff. I can't find the word. What's the word I'm looking for? If anyone else can help me out. But it's magnifying it. It's amplifying it. The great stuff can be really amplified when you've got a group of people who witness you and honour you and recognise you. Then that can amplify the whole of you and gives you more confidence to be yourself. But the fear of having your rejection and things going wrong amplified is often what stops people going in a group. Now, over the years when I worked with people one-to-one, I started group coaching back in 2010 because I had lots of one-to-one clients. I kept saying, is it just me? And even though I was saying to them I had a successful coaching practice and I would be out of business if it was just them, without them actually hearing somebody else tell their story or their version, they often still felt quite isolated and like it was just them, which is why I started doing some group coaching sessions so that people could hear that other people were working on similar stuff and it wasn't just them, and that would settle their state and make sure they got more out of the coaching environment. Equally though, once I started the group coaching program, what I noticed is I would have some people would come to the group coaching because group coaching means you might get asked some questions for 5 or 6 minutes and then you go away and reflect. So it's a bit of a combination of group and self-reflection, self-coaching. Is one lady, I remember her turning up years, probably 2010, 2011, she turned up to one of our para group retreats and for one reason or other, somebody got stuck in traffic, somebody else was ill, it ended up being just her. And what she got as personal learning from that session was really lovely to share with her, was that she discovered that she used to have group coaching because she felt she could hide in the group. So she would just listen and not speak up and wouldn't say things because she felt that it gave her, she got the benefit of the stimulation from other people, but she didn't need to speak up. Whereas one-to-one really meant the attention was 100% on her and there was no wriggle room. There was nowhere for her to go. And so I wanted just to share those with you. You've got self-coaching, one-to-one coaching and group coaching. And what I see happening too often is people go for one-to-one or group coaching. They go to one-to-one because they don't have the confidence to speak up in a group, and yet probably what they need is to have the experience of speaking up in a group coaching session to actually build that confidence. And I see other people going to group coaching often because it's cheaper, not because it's the right kind of coaching that they need to get the results that they want to get from the coaching itself. And I believe that sometimes we need a bit of both, and we have variations between self-coaching, one-to-one, or group coaching. And so I hope that gives you some insights, some things to think about. What is it you want from your coaching? What do you need from it? And ultimately, you're probably going to have to try some, experience it, and then get feedback from your own system about what works, what doesn't work, and what could work better. If you're struggling to find the right coach for you, I am more than happy with our power hours just to have an hour with you to help you work out what kind of coaching you want, and for you to experience clean language facilitation, which is what I use, to find out whether my tone of voice and my pitch and my coaching works for you. And I'm really, really okay for you to say, actually, that really annoys me, or it doesn't work, because it's information for you to work out if you know what doesn't work, you can start to explore what could work better for you. And you never know, by the end of that hour, I might know another coach who has that tone of voice, who has that story or that group or that program, that thing that you're looking for, and I'll be able to refer and recommend them to you if it's not me. So I hope that's useful. Those of you who've had coaching and you've worked one-to-one or group coaching, please share below your experiences of how, what kind of things have worked for you, what haven't worked for you. But I'd really be interested in, how did you decide? How did you decide whether you wanted one-to-one or group coaching? Because it's really important for you to know what you need. When you're going through change, you might need to just have some time to reflect and self-coach. You might need some one-to-one coaching, and you might need some group coaching. And the challenge is that we often make the choices based on time or money, not necessarily based on what will really get us the transformation and change that we're looking for and need in the moment. So whatever you've done, whatever's worked for you, if you're a coach, I'd love to have your thoughts and feelings on it. If you had coaching, please share your experiences, and let's get a discussion going today about how do you decide what kind of coaching you need. And I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Take care. Have a great week.